Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, I wanted you and I to get together and talk about this very quickly. It's an interview that Andre Ward did earlier today on the Breakfast Club. And it's interesting because I actually had never heard these thoughts, this perspective from Andre Ward. And so it was interesting in actually hearing this perspective. Now, I've always respected Andre Ward in terms of his boxing ability. I also respect him as an analyst. I know some people thought he was biased, and I think to a certain degree he was biased. But as I've mentioned to everyone, when you're giving a take, there's going to be a certain level of bias in what you're saying because your takes are partially influenced by your personal preferences, right? I have not always agreed with what Andre Ward says, but I do agree with what he said in this particular interview. And he talked a little bit about Canelo Alvarez, Jay. And people know how I feel about Canelo currently. I can't stand him. And it's because of the way he's behaved. And I've been critical of his resume in the past. I want to give Deuce Daly a shout out because he is an adamant. And he's adamant about the fact that we are wrong as it relates to Canelo Alvarez's resume, and he is an avid Canelo Alvarez fan. So I want to play a couple of clips here from the Breakfast Club of Andre Ward in his interview, and then we'll come back and react to it. Here's the first one.
Like that, right? And I just use somebody like Canelo as an example. He's an all-time great, but then there's certain fights we wanted to see, like maybe you and Canelo. Or even now they say him and Benavidez, and I'm like, well, if he doesn't fight Benavidez, do you really put that as a strike against him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Canelo fans, they call me a hater because I'm telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Like, me and this guy Canelo, we never looked each other's way, different weight class, and we shouldn't have. Like he did. And people say Canelo ducked me. He didn't duck me. The only reason why we brought up in the same category is because we had a common opponent, Sergey Kovalev, when I retired, so people start connecting the dots. Now you fought him, fight Dre now. Call Dre out. So I'll never say Canelo ducked me because he didn't. It wasn't even on his radar, wasn't on my radar. But in terms of his resume, it's a little website called boxrec.com. Mm-hmm. And if you know what you're looking at, you can look at the opponents that he fought, right? And people say, he fought this name and fought that name. Where did he fight that name when he fought him? He 32. He coming off 2 losses. He 35. Kovalev, when he fought Kovalev was cooked. He wasn't the crusher. He wasn't the undefeated guy. He had lost that. And I'm not knocking the hustle, but you lose me when you start saying I'm the best fighter in the world.
So that's one clip, Jay, and I want to play this second one very quickly as well because I thought this one was interesting.
He would have continued to win. So we can go back and forth about that all day long, but I look at it like, who are your greats? Who are your GOATs? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to go back to just Canelo real quick.
Sorry, this is the wrong clue. Let me get this.
That's a threat. Like even Dimitri Bivol, the dude he lost to. You got to give him credit for going up in weight, but I feel like he miscalculated, though. That was a miscalculation. And if you the all-time great, don't you want to get that back?
He also mentioned in this interview that they had to force Canelo Alvarez to fight Triple G, that he didn't actually want the smoke initially. So this is the common theme as far as I'm concerned as it relates to Canelo Alvarez. I think he's a wonderful fighter. We've said this on multiple occasions, Jay. I actually think that he beats David Benavidez. We've said this on multiple occasions. But
you're a hater.
There is an unwillingness to face the best competition in and around in this weight class. And anytime somebody is at their peak, there is no interest. There was no interest in Jamal when he was at his peak. There was no interest in Boo Boo when he was at his peak. He just wants a payday. Well, they all want paydays because they're in the sport.
Fighter.
You know? So it's interesting to hear him say what it is he had to say. So, Jay, what's your thoughts on what Andre Ward had to say here?
He said exactly what I've said so many times. I've been called a hater as well. You've been called a hater. I called it a Euro diet. Ward talked about who he fought, where he fought, when he fought him. I mean, he talked about Bivol being a miscalculation. I called it a cherry pick gone wrong. So it's the same thing. And coming from someone like Andre Ward that's really into the game and has more boxing knowledge than all of us put together and been in the ring, you know, it's giving us validity to everything that we said. I mean, to me, it's obvious. You can be critical of a boxer's resume and also still respect him as a fighter. We've never said that Canelo was a bum. We never said he couldn't fight. We've always given his flowers. We've also said that we want to see the best fights available. He chose not to your point. He didn't fight Maul when Maul was on a rise. Didn't fight Boo Boo. Boo Boo was his Mando. Maul was his Mando. Benavidez has been his Mando for 2.5 years. Didn't fight none of them. Now he wants to fight Maul, though, because Maul is coming off basically 3 years off with one fight and a whole bunch of things outside of the ring issues. So now he wants to fight that. So he's been calculating who he's fighting, but I agree 100% with Ward on this. And it's refreshing to see Ward's take. You know, I don't always agree with Ward on everything, but on this right here, he's spot on because he's basically saying everything that we said over and over again. People think that we hate Canelo because he can't fight. No, I hate the way he moves. I hate the fact that he didn't fight the biggest threats at the time. Not saying he had to fight them all 3 in a row, but damn. Throw one of them in between fighting Billy Joe Saunders and Julio Chavez Jr. and Guillermo and anyone else. Throw one of them in there, but you didn't. You made a mistake and picked Bivol and got cooked because of it.
Yeah, that's always been my issue with Canelo. Everything that he does seems to be extremely calculated. And I'm all about matchmaking. I've said this on multiple occasions. That's the way that you create a superstar in the sport of boxing. You want to match him up appropriately early. And you want to make sure that you position him to maximize his success. But at some point, you can no longer do that. And to another point that Andre Ward made, and there's no motivation to fight when you're making a whole lot of money making a whole lot of money fighting individuals who are not up to par, right? Up to snuff.
Exactly.
And so that can create some challenges within the sport as well. Again, I like Canelo in terms of his fighting style. I just wish he would actually fight somebody that's worth a damn. And he has an opportunity to face. They're still at an impasse, Jay, in regards to his May 4th fight because he wants Jamal Charlo in September. He is stuck on Maul. I want that Maul fight. Because,
why does he want that Maul fight so bad?
Because Maul looks like an easy target. That's why.
Exactly.
That's why.
He can go in history in saying that he's the only person to ever beat twins also.
but he's not pushing for the David Benavidez fight, and that's the part that sucks. Maybe he'll get pressured into it. PBC seems to be in a position right now, or at least of the mindset that they're not going to move forward with a Canelo Alvarez fight, paying $35 million for him to fight Jamal Charlo. Also, he has struggled to negotiate with other parties outside of PBC, mainly DAZN. They're not interested in paying him a ton of money to fight a no-name. So he might end up getting pressured into, if you want $35 million guaranteed, you're going to fight somebody. You got away with it on DAZN. Nobody else is going for it. Oscar has talked about it and saying you got to pay him $35 million. You need to make it has to be 1 million pay-per-view buys because everybody has to be satisfied in terms of the financial payout. So it is what it is, but we'll see what ends up happening. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to Andre Ward and his comments relative to Canelo Alvarez and his resume. I found them to be quite interesting, stimulating, if you will. Also, make sure you check out AM Sports Cover 4. That's our new college football channel. We enjoy talking about college football as well. Make sure you comment, hate, like, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.